What if a single decision could erase your existence? Or worse, what if time itself could collapse under its own contradictions? Time travel sounds exciting, but it comes with dangerous paradoxes that could break reality as we know it. Are these paradoxes just theoretical puzzles, or could they actually destroy the universe? Let's unravel the mystery. Time travel paradoxes. Alright, let's talk about something that has fascinated scientists, writers, and conspiracy theorists for decades: time travel. Sounds cool, right? The idea that you could hop into a machine, punch in a date, and boom, you're suddenly in the past or the future. But here's the problem. Time travel isn't just about moving through time, it's about breaking the very laws of reality. Imagine this: you travel back in time, accidentally step on a bug, and suddenly, the world as you knew it no longer exists. That's just the tip of the iceberg. Time travel is a minefield of paradoxes, situations where cause and effect get tangled in an impossible loop. What if you go back and stop your parents from meeting? Would you even exist to go back in time in the first place? That's the grandfather paradox, and trust me, it's just one of many brain-melting problems that arise when we mess with time. Some theories suggest the universe self-corrects, making paradoxes impossible. Others propose that time travel splinters reality into infinite timelines, and then there's the terrifying possibility that a paradox could collapse the entire universe like a house of cards. So, is time travel even possible? And if it is, could it actually destroy reality? Let's dive into the mind-bending paradoxes that make time travel one of the most dangerous ideas ever conceived. The grandfather paradox. Alright, picture this. You somehow get your hands on a time machine. Instead of doing something harmless like visiting the dinosaurs, you decide to pull off the ultimate experiment, traveling back in time to stop your grandfather from meeting your grandmother. Maybe you accidentally push him away from her at a dance, or worse, you remove him from history entirely. Now here's where things get crazy. If your grandfather never meets your grandmother, your parents are never born. And if your parents are never born, you're never born. But wait, if you were never born, then who traveled back in time to stop your grandfather? Boom! Reality just glitched. This is the grandfather paradox, one of the most famous and frustrating problems in time travel. It creates a loop where your very existence is tied to an event you erased. It's like a snake eating its own tail, an unsolvable contradiction. Some scientists argue that such paradoxes prove that time travel to the past is impossible, because if it were, reality itself would break down. But what if the universe has a way of protecting itself? Some theories suggest that no matter what you do, history will course-correct to prevent contradictions. Others believe your actions might create an alternate timeline, leaving the original untouched. The Bootstrap Paradox. Alright, here's a mind-bender for you. What if you created something that was never actually created? Sounds impossible, right? Well, welcome to the Bootstrap Paradox, where cause and effect get twisted into an infinite loop. Imagine this: you find an old, dusty book about the secrets of the universe. You memorize every word, then travel back in time and hand the book to a young writer before it was ever published. That writer then copies it down exactly as it was, and years later that same book ends up in your hands. But wait, who actually wrote it? Nobody. The information exists, but it has no true origin. This paradox isn't just about books. Think about a time traveler who teaches Beethoven his own symphonies before he even composes them. If Beethoven never actually created the music but instead learned it from the traveler, then where did the symphonies originally come from? They loop endlessly through time, without an actual creator. The Bootstrap Paradox completely messes with our understanding of reality. Some physicists argue that this could be possible in a universe where time loops exist, while others say it defies logic. Information or objects can't just appear out of nowhere. So, next time you hear about a genius invention or a mysterious discovery, ask yourself, did someone actually create it, or has it always existed in time's endless loop? The Predestination Paradox. What if everything you did to change the past was the very thing that ensured it happened in the first place? That's the Predestination Paradox, a time travel nightmare where free will is just an illusion, and no matter what you do, you're trapped in fate's loop. Imagine this: you get a mysterious letter telling you to go back in time and stop a disaster. You do it, thinking you're saving the day. But here's the twist: your actions accidentally caused the very disaster you were trying to prevent. You weren't the hero, you were always the reason it happened. It gets worse. Let's say you go back in time to meet a famous scientist and inspire them to make their greatest discovery. But what if the only reason they ever made that discovery was because of you? You think you're changing history, but in reality you're fulfilling it. This paradox suggests that time isn't something you can rewrite. It's already written. The more you try to change the past, the more you're just playing your role in an unbreakable cycle. Some scientists think this means time travel to the past is possible, but only if events remain consistent. You can't change what was always meant to happen. The Novikov self-consistency principle. Alright, imagine you have a time machine and decide to go back in time to stop a major event. Maybe you try to prevent a war, save a historical figure, or even stop yourself from making a huge mistake. But no matter what you do, something always gets in the way. Your car breaks down, you miss your flight. The universe itself seems to be working against you. Why? Enter the Novikov self-consistency principle, a mind-blowing theory that suggests time travel might be possible, but paradoxes are not. According to Russian physicist Igor Novikov, the universe has built-in rules that prevent any action from altering the past in a way that would create a contradiction. Basically, history protects itself, and if you try to change it, time will always find a way to keep things the same. Think about it like this. If you travel back in time to stop an accident, you might actually be the reason it happens, whether you realize it or not. No matter how hard you try, every choice you make will ultimately preserve history, not change it. So what does this mean for time travelers? If Novikov is right, then the past isn't some open playground for rewriting history. It's a locked script where every event is already part of a self-consistent timeline. The chronology protection conjecture. Alright, here's a wild idea. What if time travel paradoxes never happen because the universe simply doesn't allow them? No, not because of some cosmic police force, but because the laws of physics themselves block time travel before things get messy. This is what Stephen Hawking proposed in his chronology protection conjecture, a theory that suggests time travel to the past is fundamentally impossible because the universe has built-in safeguards to prevent it. Think about it. If time travel existed, we'd probably have tourists from the future hanging around in ancient Rome or watching the Big Bang unfold like a front-row movie. But we don't see them. According to Hawking, that's because nature stops time loops from ever forming. How? By using extreme forces like radiation, gravitational distortions, or quantum effects to prevent wormholes or time machines from working before they can cause paradoxes. Imagine trying to build a time machine only for some bizarre cosmic force to fry your equipment every single time. It's like the universe saying, nope, not today. So if Hawking was right, we may never have to worry about paradoxes destroying reality, because time travel itself might be permanently off limits. Parallel universes and multiple histories. What if every choice you've ever made or didn't make exists in a separate universe? And what if time travel doesn't actually change the past, but instead creates an entirely new timeline? Welcome to the mind-bending world of parallel universes and multiple histories. Imagine this. You travel back in time to stop a historical disaster. In most time travel theories, this would create a paradox. But according to the many worlds interpretation of quantum mechanics, instead of rewriting history, you just create a new reality where the disaster never happens. Meanwhile, the original timeline still exists, untouched. Think of it like a cosmic choose-your-own-adventure book. Every time a major event happens, the universe splits, creating countless alternate realities. In one, you passed your exam. In another, you failed and became a rock star instead. In yet another, you never even took the test at all. So does this solve time travel paradoxes? Maybe. If true, this means you can travel to the past, make changes and return, but you'll never return to your original timeline. Instead, you'll be in a new branch of reality, while your old universe carries on as if you never left. The question is, if infinite timelines exist, does that mean somewhere out there, another version of you has already built a time machine? Quantum mechanics and time travel. Alright, if there's one thing we know about quantum mechanics, it's that it doesn't play by the normal rules. Particles can be in two places at once, teleport across space, and even influence each other instantly no matter how far apart they are. But what if quantum physics holds the key to time travel, without paradoxes? One mind-blowing theory suggests that instead of one fixed timeline, reality exists in a superposition of possibilities until something collapses it into a single outcome. In this view, a time traveler going to the past wouldn't actually change anything. Instead, they'd create a quantum ripple, shifting them into a different version of reality where their actions always existed. No paradox, no problem. Then there's the idea of closed time-like curves, a concept from Einstein's relativity that suggests space and time could bend in such a way that an event loops back on itself. Some physicists think quantum mechanics might allow particles or even people to take these loops, meaning time travel is mathematically possible. But here's the catch. Quantum mechanics is weird, unpredictable, and still not fully understood. If time travel exists at a quantum level, it might not look anything like we expect. Could future scientists figure out how to exploit quantum laws to break the time barrier? Maybe. Or maybe they already have. And we just haven't caught up yet. Entropy and the second law of thermodynamics. Alright, let's talk about why time only moves forward, and why traveling backward might break the universe itself. The culprit? Entropy. According to the second law of thermodynamics, entropy, a measure of disorder, always increases in a closed system. That's why ice melts, why things decay, and why you can't unburn toast. The universe naturally moves from order to chaos, and that's what gives us the arrow of time. Now here's the problem with time travel. If you go back in time, you're reversing entropy, which means the universe would have to rewind, reorganizing every particle exactly as it was. Think of a shattered glass magically reforming itself, or smoke perfectly returning to a candle. That's not just unlikely, it violates the fundamental rules of physics. Some scientists believe this is why time travel to the past is impossible. The universe simply doesn't allow entropy to decrease. Others argue that if time loops or wormholes exist, they might bypass entropy laws, but at a cost we don't yet understand. So, could we ever cheat entropy and travel backward in time? Maybe, but messing with the fundamental laws of thermodynamics could be like pulling the wrong thread in reality's fabric, causing everything to unravel. Can paradoxes destroy reality? So, after all these mind-bending paradoxes, here's the big question. Can time travel actually destroy reality? Well, that depends on which theory you believe. If time is self-correcting, like in the Novikov principle, paradoxes might not even be possible, meaning the universe always finds a way to prevent contradictions. Maybe you try to stop a historical event, but your actions accidentally ensure it happens instead. Reality stays intact, and you're just a player in a fixed timeline. But if paradoxes can exist, things get terrifying. The grandfather paradox suggests that time loops could create logical contradictions that break causality itself. The Bootstrap Paradox makes us question whether things can exist without ever being created. And if entropy truly locks time in one direction, then reversing it might unravel reality at the quantum level. Some theories suggest that rather than destroying the universe, paradoxes might split reality into infinite timelines, each playing out a different version of events. In that case, you wouldn't be rewriting history, you'd just be hopping to a different one. So, will time travel ever be possible? And if it is, will reality survive? The answer might already exist, in a timeline we just haven't discovered yet. Time travel sounds thrilling, but the paradoxes could change everything, or even erase reality itself. So what do you think? Is time travel possible, or will the universe always protect itself? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you love exploring futuristic mysteries, subscribe to InnoVision Tech for more mind-blowing content. See you in the next one.